Coming up on this chillin' edition of ATV News.
The Ebola virus is spreading around the world, but will it come to Logan? We'll tell you how Cache Valley is preparing.
Utah State is cloning goats. We'll show you how it may benefit you.
Ever had your hard drive crash? We'll show you what USU is doing to help you store your files.
In weather, it's sunny today, but there's a chance you need to wear your snow coat.
Coming up in sports, the Aggies were still bowl eligible heading into Saturday's game. I'll show you the highlights and tell you why it mattered so much.
And it's all coming up on ATV News.
It's November 19th, and welcome to this edition of ATV News. I'm Ileana Barunda.
And I'm Bradley Wells. Logan City Fire Department responded to a call from Smith's Marketplace on 700 North and Main Street Sunday morning. Employees reported that they saw some light smoke coming through the ceiling of the building. When the fire department arrived, they found the heating unit on the rooftop fully engulfed in flames. Fire Marshal Craig Humphreys said the fire extended a little bit through the roof structure into the store, but no merchandise was damaged. The store was evacuated and firefighters were able to quickly extinguish the flames. Humphreys said the store was only shut down for a little while before it was found to be structurally stable and customers were allowed back in. According to the Logan City Fire Department, there were no injuries reported from the customers, employees, or firefighters.
A dangerous intersection on Main Street led to a car accident earlier this week. A Mazda pulled off 1600 North onto Main Street Monday afternoon, hitting a Nissan Frontier. Both vehicles were totaled, and the impact ripped the rear axle off the Frontier and caused it to spin and roll multiple times before coming to a stop.
Everything was strewn on the inside, turned upside down. They flipped twice. If they hadn't had seatbelts on, they would have been in that turmoil, that rotating process, which easily could have broken some bones and potentially could have been ejected out of the vehicle.
No one suffered any major injuries. Chief Hawks recommends people go to the stoplights at 1400 North or 1800 North to avoid turning left at the 1600 North intersection because of how busy this part of Main Street can be.
Healthcare.gov is once again open for business. Saturday was the first day of the second open enrollment period, and for the next 3 months, you have the opportunity to enroll in a federal healthcare plan. For coverage to begin January 1st, you will need to apply by December 15th. You ultimately have until February 15th to secure a plan. After that, unless you experience some type of life-changing event, you won't be able to buy a new plan. But missing the deadline won't just leave you without insurance, because it is against the law to go out without insurance. Those that are not covered face tax penalties. The penalties in 2015 have increased to $325 per adult, or 2% of the household income, whichever is higher. This is up from just $95 per adult, or 1% in 2014. Whether you currently have insurance or not, you can sign up for a new healthcare plan by going to healthcare.gov.
These days, it seems like everyone is talking about Ebola, but a lot of what's there seems to be more fear-based than fact-based. Here's what USU has to say about the disease here. There's hand sanitizer almost everywhere on campus to keep you safe during flu season. But what if Ebola came to Logan?
A bunch of us from Africa got together, and then we're just saying jokes like when people see it, they'll probably run thinking we've got Ebola and stuff.
Which should not be the case when these are the only affected areas, and Boniface is from Ghana. Now, the average person doesn't know much about Ebola, but it's one of the most controversial and talked about topics right now. All right, I'm here with Sabrina, and I'm just going to ask her a couple of questions. So, do you know what Ebola is?
It's a disease.
It came from Africa originally, something like that.
Do you happen to know how it's transmitted?
It's transmitted through bodily fluids.
Blood or like saliva maybe, but not just like in the air or anything.
Do you happen to know how many confirmed cases are in the U.S. already?
I have no idea.
5 or 2, not very many.
Take a guess.
50.
And as of right now, there have only been 4 confirmed cases in the United States, which is nothing compared to Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia, the 3 most affected countries.
I don't think it's Africa's problem. I don't think it's like Sierra Leone or Liberia's problem. I think it's a world problem.
And the Health and Wellness Center is already preparing.
We know that at the beginning of this last semester there were about 6 individuals from the affected area, none of which had symptoms or needed any monitoring.
And here at Admissions, they say they're not doing anything different, for now.
We wouldn't treat a student that was sick in any other way as inadmissible, and so I don't know why we would make a special case for this disease.
And I think what we'd find is that we'd find a policy that would be amenable to students pursuing their educational pursuits as long as they can safely.
And Ebola actually has a 21-day incubation period, which is why many people that have come in contact with the disease are quarantined for 3 weeks. But if you actually happen to catch the disease, you are able to transmit it to someone else for the entire duration of having the virus. So what do you think about Ebola coming to Cache Valley?
I don't think it's very likely, but anything's possible.
Anything's possible? Well, at least we seem like we're prepared. For more up-to-date information, you can visit cdc.gov.
Coming up next, a new technology on MyUSU hopes to help teachers and students. We'll show you exactly what that is.
And are you willing to take a dodgeball flying to your face? Some students will do just that for a sweet reward.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education.
Right up here.
So every year I take promising high schoolers on a college tour
Lights there, darts there.
to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge at liveunited.org/volunteer.
Do you wear this?
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Welcome back. What do goats, cloning, and heart arrhythmias all have in common? Our Alicia Facer went out to the lab and the barn to find out.
Atrial fibrillation, or an irregular heartbeat, is a serious health issue in the United States. According to the Heart Rhythm Society, 2.7 million Americans are affected. What causes atrial fibrillation is still unknown, but researchers at USU are hoping that goat cloning could help answer that question and how to stop it.
We will transfer the donor cell to the enucleated oocytes. The transfer procedure maybe we can do by electrofusion or by injection directly. Here we will do electrofusion.
The research began 3 years ago and involves around 20 people from USU and the University of Utah.
We are producing goats which will help us to understand what role fibrosis play in heart disease.
Mice are normally used to study heart research, but goats' hearts are more relatable to a human. Because researchers need hearts that are close to the same size as human hearts, they can't use baby goats. They have to wait for the goats to mature. That usually occurs between 12 and 18 months. A transgenic goat model is used to research a connection between cardiac fibrosis, the thickening of the heart valves, and atrial fibrillation. Alicia Facer, ATV News.
Cloning research is done twice a week on the second floor of the Agricultural Science Building on campus.
An imaginary blob of data gives you movies on Netflix and music on iTunes. But now, Aggies have their own slice of the digital cloud. The storage service Box can be accessed with your Aggie Mail account to give you 50 gigs of free space on every device you use for the rest of your life. And unless you plan on sharing over 50 high-definition movies, you'll be able to collaborate on your next group project.
So a great advantage for students is you can work on homework wherever you are, in a computer lab, on your own laptop, on your own device, collaborating with other classmates, right? And then when it's time to turn it in, wherever you're going to turn it in from, you've got access. You'll be able to just turn your assignments in right in Canvas, right from Box.
Your Canvas account will soon be integrated with Box, so if you need help using it, just go to it.usu.edu/Box.
Would $500 cash be enough incentive to have foam balls fly 40 miles an hour at your face? Our Jill Hodson shows you students who thought it was worth the cash.
Today we have our second annual President's Cabinet Tournament. We have 14 teams who have signed up and are competing today. All of the proceeds, every team had to pay $40 to participate in the tournament today. All of that money is being donated to the Beards for Loretta fundraiser.
During this month of November, there are various activities and fundraisers we're doing to raise money to support her through her chemotherapy.
It's tournament style, double elimination, so we have 3 courts going and playing right now.
The rules are you're out if you cross the line, get hit, or someone catches your ball. Another rule is if you hold the dodgeball for more than 5 seconds, you're gonna get. And if you win the whole tournament, you'll get.
The prize for the winning team is a $500 cash prize.
That isn't all that the winners get.
They get a trophy, it says the second annual dodgeball tournament on it, and then they each get t-shirts.
Even for those who didn't get money, there were still some perks to playing.
It's a great place to get together, have fun with fellow classmates, take a break from studying and all the stressors that's going on.
Getting you close to the action, Jill Hodson, ATV News.
Each dodgeball team needed to have at least 3 girls to be eligible. Up next, Jill Hodson will have your Cache Valley weather forecast and tell us about the first snowfall of the season.
The current temperature in Logan is 37 degrees.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun? Can you feel the sun?
This is the moment I knew his future
had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Today, it started off sunny, but now it's a little more cloudy outside, but that snow from Friday night's storm is still on the ground. And I remember Friday night where the snow plows took about 3 hours to get on those main roads to get that snow off the roads. If we could take a look at our national radar, we have two major storms going on, and you have Michigan going over here, and it's heading up towards Buffalo. So Buffalo had about there were records of 60 inches recorded for yesterday's storm. And due to that storm, about 5 people died. So just please be careful out on those roads. And it's heading through Lake Erie and just all across Michigan through Detroit. Over on the west side of our nation, we have up here in the northern part of California, in Redding and Sacramento, you have some pretty big rainstorms, which is really good for them because of the drought that they've been in for quite some time. If we could take a look at our state radar, looking in on here, you can see that Logan, we don't have much today. That's why it's been sunny today and also yesterday. And then just a few little flurries through Salt Lake and the Layton and Ogden areas. May we take a look at our 7-day forecast? All right, starting on Wednesday today, partly cloudy and sunny. And it's also a little Monopoly Day, so it's National Play Monopoly Day. So go ahead and go take a break from life and also play a game with your family. Okay, we'll head on to Thursday and Friday. You got 43 as a high, 44 for a high on Friday. We're in the mid and upper 20s on the lows there. We have a 100% chance of rain though on Saturday, on 38 as a high. And then Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we have snow, and some snow. So we have highs, lows. We have a high of low 30s for those 3 days. And you know, since it's National Play Monopoly Day, take a break, have some family or friend time. Tomorrow is actually National Peanut Butter Fudge Day.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Right?
I love that stuff.
It's so good.
So good.
I might just make some and have some for tomorrow.
Ooh, it's exciting.
But Misty, what do we have going on for sports?
You know, Jill, I'm glad you asked that. We had several teams home this weekend. The men's basketball team was here, and they took on in-state rival Weber State over the weekend. In the first half, Weber started out on top, scoring the first 5 points. But this three-pointer right here by Jalen Moore broke Weber's scoring streak. The Aggies would try to keep the score as close as they could, whether it came from layups, such as that one by David Collette, or whether it was a 2-point deuce from freshman Julian Pierre right there, or whether it was another 3-point shot at the line from Jalen Moore. Swoosh! The Aggies did all they could to keep the Cats in reach. Weber answered right back with points of their own. 3 here, and another 2 right here from Weber State's Rashad Gittins. Then Weber blocked JoJo McGlaston's dunk attempt and took it all the way back down the court for yet another 3-pointer. The Aggies trailed by 18 heading into the halftime break. And speaking of breaks, we're going to take one now, but we'll have the rest of the highlights from the men's season opener when we come back.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
If you can sit with me, imagine what you'd see if every child
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
It was loud. And it was proud in the Spectrum as USU came out a whole new team the second half. It was all Aggies as they scored point after point after point. They cut Weber's lead to 8 and then went on a 17-0 run, earning them a 9-point lead with 7 minutes remaining. The Wildcats would try to come back, but the Aggies took the win with a final score of 72-61.
No one should come in here and blow us out by what they were doing to us, and so we came back second half, picked up our game, and were able to come back with a huge comeback win.
We made a lot of plays in the second half, just looked like a totally different basketball team and rebounded the ball better. Obviously David and Jalen had big games, and it was a fun way to win.
The team pulled off another comeback Sunday against Illinois State. The Aggies were down 27-20 at the half, and they came back to win 60-55. With these two comebacks, USU has outscored their opponents 83-42 in the second half so far this season. They hope to make their record 3-0 tonight as they take on Santa Clara in the Spectrum. While the men were pulling off some great comebacks, the women lost to Oregon 100-77 and to number 20 Oregon State 85-62. They're back home tomorrow night against Utah Valley. The Aggie football team took to the field on Saturday afternoon in a frigid game against New Mexico in a Mountain West showdown. The Aggies got things started with this 47-yard run by LaJuan Hunt to the New Mexico 1-yard line. A few plays later, Hunt punched in this 1-yard touchdown to cap off the drive and give the Aggies the 7-0 lead. A couple of drives later, New Mexico's Terrion Gibson hit a wall of bodies and seems to be going down, but somehow rolls out of the pile for a 16-yard run to set up this 1-yard touchdown by David Anea to even the score at 7. After trading big play touchdowns, the Aggies scored on this pass to Wyatt Houston to give them the lead for good and beat the Lobos 28-21.
The culture of that locker room is really, really good right now. They continue to will it upon themselves to kind of wrap their arms around each and every guy, and whoever's the next man up continues to make plays and play at a high level, and we got to play great around them.
The win on Saturday improved the Aggies' chances for the Mountain West Bowl game. But to stay in the running, they need another win this weekend as they host San Jose State in the final home game of the season. Then they'll head to Boise State next weekend in a game that could end up deciding who wins the division. The women's volleyball team has been on the road for the past 2 weeks. They beat Nevada 3-1 and San Jose State 3-0. But they lost their next 2 games to Utah Valley and Fresno State. The team is finally back home tonight to take on UNLV. Let's hit the ice now with the USU hockey team. They also took on Weber State last Friday night at home. The Aggies started off strong in their game against the Wildcats with number 23 Josh Kirkfleet scoring the first goal within the first 3 minutes of the game. For the rest of the first period, the Aggies would continue to fight off the Cats. Take a look at this hit by Morgan McJimsey, right there. Let's slow that down. Boom! He knocks him flat. So the Aggies fought hard, but the second period was a different story, as Weber State scores once, and then 2.5 minutes later, they drive it down the rink, and they score again. Then, still in the second period, you know what? Never mind. Let's just freeze it right there. I can't bear to show you anymore. We'll just say that the final score was 4-2, and it was not in the Aggies' favor. The Aggies take on Arizona State at home tomorrow night. So the hockey team might have been a little off, but Zach Vigil from the football team has been on fire. He's actually one of 10 semifinalists for the Burlsworth Trophy, which is a national award given to a football player who's a walk-on. So it's a pretty big deal for Utah State.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty sweet. When we come up next, we'll show you how the Department of Natural Resources parties.
States Air Force. Thank you.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Welcome back. Saturday's football game finished off Veterans Week with a military appreciation game. Throughout the game, Air Force and Army cadets made up a cannon crew, and for each touchdown scored, the cadets did push-ups for each point. When the halftime show began, the marching band stepped onto the field, and the 18 cadets joined them to unfold the massive American flag, while the band played patriotic songs. The Coast Guard, Air Force, Army, Marines, and Navy were represented by retirees who saluted when they were called. The game ball was also given to a Purple Heart recipient at the end of the halftime show.
These days, you'll really have to search to find a student who hasn't heard of No Shave November, especially in the forestry department. Our David Matthew Stewart shows you the hairiest part of the semester.
Beanies, beards, and Paul Bunyan waded through a sea of flannel at the College of Natural Resources' 75th Annual Loggers Ball. The unofficial costume of the night was sported by loggers of either gender, but we'll defer to the judges as to who sported it best. Judges also crowned a king and queen of the forest and weighed in on a beard contest that was probably a bit fuzzier than beard contests held any other time of the year.
No Shave November starts the 1st of November. You shave off your whole beard and wait the whole month to see how long it grows back.
It's just a time where no one has to shave, and I like that it can be recognized in both genders. So for this No Shave November, I haven't shaved my armpits all winter or all November. So it's gone to the point where it's like a little weird, but I feel like I'm committed now.
I'm not participating because I don't want to make people feel bad. I grow a better beard than all of them. This is just my beard.
November weather gives us plenty of reasons to skip shaving and embrace our scruff. However, one movement is asking guys to take a little off the sides in order to spark a conversation.
Movember is a charity. No Shave November is just what people do casually.
Movember, like November but with an M.
A bunch of Australian drunks who wanted to grow beards and wanted to raise awareness for prostate cancer.
What started out as a silly conversation in 2003 has had some serious results. The Movember campaign has grown to over 900,000 men and raised $550 million, all for a health concern that might otherwise go undiscussed.
I don't think prostate health likes to be talked about a lot, and this actually brings it up in conversation and kind of makes it a fun topic.
Personally, I love No Shave November because I really like seeing guys try to grow beards. Either it works or it doesn't, and I think it's really entertaining either way.
I think if you can own it and you are proud of it, then go for it.
David Matthew Stewart, ATV News.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
We leave you with video of a sunset over Old Main.